who was in with me for the first few minutes of the show. Lots still to come up on the Haley Show. We have Justin Kruger talking to us about Jetivator, the water-powered hose that sends you flying 9 meters above the water. Adrenaline junkies will love that, and that's coming up just after 10 o'clock. We're also going to be speaking to Brad Knowles from Ster-Kinekor, find out what the latest films are to hit the screen this week. And lots of giveaways today on the show. We'll be giving away 2 movie tickets with our Ster-Kinekor movie question, 2 Jetivator experiences. And coming up right now, we're going to be talking to the Master Chocolatier Dimo Simatos. The Master Chocolatier from the Lindt Studios, and we're going to be giving away 2 vouchers to do 2 courses at the Lindt Studios. And the list of courses you can do is endless: cupcake making, chocolate appreciation, roulade making, cake making. Dimo will tell us more about that. But make sure you're watching Twitter at Balls Radio, at Haley Owen SA, to find out how you can win all the giveaways we've got on the show today. So it's my pleasure to welcome Dimo to the Haley Show. You just flew into Joburg this morning.
Yeah, that's correct. About half an hour to an hour ago.
Oh, I'm glad we bagged you first before your weekend gets going. Dimo, tell us, so you're a master chocolatier.
Yes.
When you grow up, if you like chocolate,
when you're growing up, aspire to.
Yeah, how does one become a master chocolatier?
Well, look, it's not an official kind of education. It is quite practical. So you would do an apprenticeship and then work your way into chocolate shops, pastry shops, confectionery shops. In my case, I started off in 5-star hotels as a pastry apprentice. And then later on, I did my specialized training in France for chocolate work specific, the US, that type of thing.
Okay, so you're very modest when you say you've done 5-star hotels. I mean, you've been the pastry chef at hotels like the One and Only. You've competed in pastry competitions all over the world, and you're regarded as one of South Africa's top pastry chefs. Why pastry?
Sure. Look, I've got a passion for chocolate and anything sweet. So if it concerns sugar and the good things in life like butter, we can put it together and make in almost anything. But savory food didn't really appeal for me.
Okay, so anything sweet. But tell me, why are you not fat? If I worked with chocolate and butter every day and were making these delicacies, I'd be the size of a house.
Yeah.
And if you're watching on balls.co.za now, you'll see that Dimo's carrying no weight. How does that work when you're working with chocolate on a daily basis?
Well, initially, it's most probably what you imagine, that we stuff our faces with chocolate continuously. But that only lasts for a couple of days, and then, it evens out. So it's only when you're testing the product before it goes out, or you're coming up with a new recipe, that you'll actually be tasting quite a bit. But after a while, it becomes like another commodity. So it's only when you're in the mood for the product that you'll have it. So.
Oh, self-restraint, I tell you. Tell me, which is your favorite Lindt chocolate?
At the moment, there's a new one on the market that's just been released. It's the caramel and sea salt.
Caramel and sea salt. I see they've got a whole new range now that have hit the shops with like kind of bright, funky colors.
Yeah,
it's kind of a whole different image to what you used to with
That's
Lindt.
right, yeah.
So that is like different mixtures of flavors
Right.
to what
what
we used
Lindt's
to.
done is it's kind of taken popular flavors like strawberry cheesecake, caramel brownie, crunchy nougat, and they've put it as a filling inside Lindt milk chocolate.
Okay.
So the packaging's totally different. Like you said, it's there's bright colors. I think it's going to appeal to not only the sophisticated chocolate eater, but also a person who wants a quick confectionery snack. So
Lindt's got it nailed, hey? I mean, those little Lindt balls are my ultimate. Which is your favorite Lindt ball?
I like anything with hazelnuts, so I go with the
Okay.
milk chocolate hazelnut.
Okay, which color is that? What color
That's
is
the brown wrapper.
that? The brown wrapper.
gold.
Oh.
But
But then you have to
yeah.
say no to the red ones and the white ones.
yeah, I mean, just to tease you a little bit, I don't know if you've been to our studios, but the
Not
studio has a limited selection of other flavor Lindor, like cappuccino, Irish cream.
Ooh. So
there's a
special edition
coconut.
Lindt balls. Okay, you can
Yeah.
see I'm a Lindt fan. So when Erin here at Balls Radio told me about the Lindt studios that have been developed in Joburg and in Cape Town, I got hold of Lindt straight away, and they sent you to come tell us a bit more about it. So maybe you can just tell us about the concept and what happens at these chocolate studios.
Okay. Essentially, Lindt's got a concept which you'll all be familiar with, what you see on TV, the Master Chocolatier. He's the guy in the chef's uniform.
In all the adverts, yes.
Correct.
That's not you, is
Just
it?
by the way, that's not me.
I was going to ask.
They'll have to do quite a bit of photoshopping. So.
No.
That concept of the Master Chocolatier was materialized in the form of the chocolate studios. So the studios are essentially, call it a classroom, where there is trained chocolatiers. There's teams that are professionally trained that run classes for the public, the professional. If you're looking for a career change, you can come do our classes and, go into chocolate pastry.
So it's for like your everyday person that wants to do a fun course, and it's for people that actually want to become professional chocolatiers.
Exactly. We have different segments of classes. So you have evening fun classes. So if you and your partner want to come along for an evening out, they're short classes for an hour or 2 hours.
What's an example of like a fun class?
You can start off with chocolate appreciation, which essentially is a tasting and understanding of how chocolate is processed.
But to appreciate chocolate, you have to eat it slowly. You can't just
Absolutely.
shove it in your mouth.
And you shouldn't chew. You should let it melt on your tongue and release the full flavor of it. To experience it.
Okay.
And that way, obviously, it lasts longer as well. So.
How can I'm yet to develop a taste for dark chocolate.
Really?
How would you advise me to appreciate dark chocolate?
Well, it's very easy. It's going to require a little bit of self-restraint from your side. But what we suggest is, and it's something that comes up quite often, is we have an excellence range of Lindt that comes in various flavors: chili, coconut, orange. So there's a flavor for everybody, but the backbone of that chocolate is about a 50% cocoa content. So it's dark chocolate, but still quite sweet. So the best way we find people to enter the dark segment is to pick a flavor that they enjoy with the dark, and then
because it's still a bit sweeter than your average.
Yeah, you're not going to go to your 70 or 85 or your 90% immediately.
So the higher the cocoa, the less sweet it is.
Correct.
Which is probably what people think the opposite.
Yeah, people always refer to the chocolate as bitter, but that is only simply because you're not eating it in the same. If you eat a 70 and a 95 and you're having an espresso, you're going to have the same flavor profiles, so they're going to blend. But if you go from a sweet cup of tea and then you're tasting your 70 or your 95,
it's going to taste
85,
bitter.
It's going to taste bitter to you. So we like to refer to it as intense cocoa flavor rather than, bitter.
Bitter. Okay, so it's the cocoa that gives it the bitter.
Correct.
So I must start with the Lindt Excellence range that has a flavor.
Yes.
That's your advice.
You pick your flavor and try stay away from your white chocolate and your milk chocolate initially.
Yeah, the sweet ones.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Sorry, you were telling us about the different courses. So you were saying if you just as a couple or a bunch of friends want to do a fun course, which kind of courses can you do?
So the evening classes or private team buildings that you can book out for not only corporates, but if you have a group of friends.
Bachelor parties.
Exactly. We do a lot of hen parties, believe it or not.
How many people can it take, the studio, would you say?
Our Joburg studio can take up to about 25,
Okay.
depending on which class it is running.
All right.
But the master classes, which are generally our day classes and quite, I wouldn't say intense, but a lot more content, a lot more technique and recipes, and a lot more product that you walk away with. That's going to require, we don't take more than 12 people.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
so master class is more intense and small.
We try keep it kind of intimate and try give everybody a chance to get the full, impact of what they're learning.
Okay, so you said the Joburg studio can take 25, and that's in Design Quarter, right?
Correct.
And where's the Cape Town studio?
It's in Greenpoint, in an area called the Cape Quarter.
That's a perfect place for it. Yeah,
okay.
That's very, like kind of funky, arty
Exactly. There's
vibe.
a lot of, artistic stuff going on there. And it's
brilliant. And how much do these courses cost?
Look, it ranges from 200 per person to just under 1,000 Rand.
Okay.
Depending on which class you select, which content, whether it's a master class or a team build. But there is a price group for everybody. So you shouldn't think everything is expensive.
When I was tweeting yesterday about how I was having you on the show, someone said that the Lindt studio in Design Court is the only reason he keeps going for meetings at his one client there, because you can actually just buy chocolate there as well. You don't have to do a course. You can just pop in for, what did you say, the special edition Lindt balls?
That's right. We the studios are, in a way, you can think of them as little Lindt flagship stores.
Okay.
We're supposed to have all of the products that you can find from Lindt within South Africa, because obviously they import a certain selection. And obviously we have certain special edition items like the limited edition Lindor, which you can't find in the retail stores, but only at the studios.
Okay.
As well as, I must mention, is handmade chocolates that are made by the chocolatiers. So they artisanally made. It's made with Lindt, but there's some different textures, different varieties. So if you're looking for something special.
Oh, nice little prezi. So you've come up to Joburg now. What are you going to be doing at the studio for the next little while?
Well, these are my actual routine visits that I do. Quite boring, but I touch base with the teams here. We do further training, and we work on new recipes. We're actually starting to work on new classes for 2015.
All right. I mean, Lindt is a great brand to be associated with. Do you know anything about the history of Lindt or how it came to be this chocolate?
Yeah, we cover it on our appreciation class.
Okay.
So it's quite important for us because Lindt has quite a long history in the chocolate making industry. It dates back to the 1800s.
Sure.
So our founder, chocolatier Rudolf Lindt, and his partner at that time, the Rudolf Sprungli family.
Sprungli.
Yeah, Sprungli.
Sprungli.
You'll actually see it on the actual Lindt packaging. If you turn it over, it's the Lindt and Sprungli chocolate company. So these were the two founding chocolatiers. But what was really important is Rudolf Lindt's invention of the conch. I don't know if you've perhaps heard of that before.
The conch, no?
The conch. It comes from the Spanish word concha, meaning shell. It's a special machine that mixes and molds the chocolate.
Okay.
And that's what actually gives it the beautiful rounded flavor.
I was going to say, what's the secret ingredient? So it's actually the blender that blends all the ingredients.
That's one part, but for Lindt it also starts with a selection of cocoa beans.
Okay.
So just like good coffee would start with good variety of beans, that's the first start point of good quality product. Then the blending and the roasting, the refining process, and something that not many people are aware of, but in the Excellence range from Lindt, there's no play of vegetable fats. So the natural cocoa butter that comes from those beans is used in chocolate.
So you're saying it's healthy?
It is actually. Apparently, cocoa butter is good for your cholesterol.
Oh.
There's certain fatty acids that are very similar to what you find in olive oil, which are good for your heart.
Interesting. And now they say that having like a little piece of dark chocolate every day is good for your health, like a glass of wine and a piece of dark chocolate. Yeah. Would you go along with that?
Yeah, definitely, but I would change it to 2 pieces.
Good salesman we have here. And so obviously your career's been in the food industry, and you train a lot of people in this to specialize in this kind of thing. Yeah. Have you ever been on MasterChef before?
MasterChef? No, unfortunately not. No.
What do you think of the whole MasterChef phenomenon that's got everyone... Everyone seems to be a foodie these days and kind of getting excited in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's bringing an awareness to the fact that a chef and a chocolatier and a pastry chef is not something that you do when you can't do anything else, or if you can't get into university. It's a good thing to highlight. But I think also people need to understand it's not that glamorous always. So
it's hard work.
Exactly, hard work, long hours, and there is almost a ritual of progression that has to happen.
And you see Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen. He doesn't look like a nice person to deal with. What are you like in the kitchen? Do you scream and shout, or?
No, not at all.
You seem quite calm.
Yeah, no. Chocolate work, pastry is a calm environment. We don't work on what the hot kitchen chefs always refer to as à la minute. So as you all understand, when you place an order in a restaurant, those chefs have to respond almost immediately to get your food out. With
you
chocolate
get time to do your art.
We start planning 3 days to make an individual chocolate. So the process is structured, and if it's put in place correctly, like we do in Lindt, there's no stress. Everyone's happy. Well, I hope anyway.
And what restaurant would you recommend South Africans go to get delicious pastries?
Well,
are you allowed to say?
Yeah, I don't know. Sure. Look, I can recommend down in Cape Town because
Or
I'm more familiar with the
Yes.
Cape Town area.
Sure.
The one and only in Cape Town has a very good pastry department, a good selection of high tea items. They incidentally use Lindt, and that's why we're referring.
Okay, all right.
But again, it's I think the trend is getting better and better. I mean, a lot of the people that have come on our classes have opened up little small little businesses where they're making a selection of macaroons to resell at markets.
Oh, really?
I don't know how big the markets are up here in Joburg, but the food markets down in Cape Town are quite.
No, they're definitely growing here as well.
Okay.
And tell me, there's also, as much as people are becoming foodies, people are also becoming healthier and becoming more active and health and weight conscious.
Yeah.
How do you think that affects kind of your business? Do you think chocolate lovers will always eat chocolate?
I think so. I think it's one of those things that, it's like they say, everyone would love chocolate. It just depends. You have to find your specific flavor and variety. And, eating quality and in moderation is always going to be in fashion, So
Yeah.
it's
Quality and in moderation.
Absolutely.
I like that. So now my last question for you today is, I'm having people for dinner tonight.
okay.
And I haven't bought dessert. And I see there's actually a course at the Joburg Chocolate Studio where you can, they teach you how to make desserts for dinner parties, which I think is brilliant because then you can really impress people. But what would you suggest I do tonight, considering I have very basic skills in the kitchen?
I would go with, a Lindt chocolate mousse.
Lindt chocolate mousse.
Yeah.
But for that, you have to obviously melt the chocolate, and I know chocolate can burn easily.
Yeah, well, I can give you a recipe afterwards. It's very simple. We don't. We try and make all the recipes that we give out quite user friendly, so the person at home with a basic selection of let's call it equipment can produce. Obviously, there's going to be certain techniques that you'll have to invest in some specialized equipment, and that you can find at the studio. We do a resale of equipment.
Okay.
But it's simple chocolate mousse, I think, is the way to go for you, as long as you can whip up cream.
If it's got Lindt chocolate in, if the main ingredient is Lindt chocolate, then I'm sure it will be delicious. As you can hear, I'm a huge Lindt fan, and the Lindt studios are now in Design Quarter in Fourways in Johannesburg and at Cape Quarter in Greenpoint in Cape Town. And Dimo Simatos.
That's it.
Simatos. Did you have a Greek mom that made you delicious pastries when you were little?
Funny enough, yeah, she did. But it stopped, I think. Yeah, it stopped. I don't know why it stopped. It stopped.
You had to start making them then.
Yeah.
So it's a pleasure to have had Dimo Simatos from Lindt. He's the Master Chocolatier for Lindt Chocolate in studio with me today. Make sure you go visit the studios. You can do, there are lots of courses you can do. There are also special edition chocolates you can buy there, handmade chocolates you can buy. I'll be sure to pop in the next few days and see you guys in action there. But we would like to give away 2 vouchers to do a course at the either the Cape Town studio or the Joburg studio. So I'm going to ask you a question, and the first correct tweet wins 2 vouchers to do a delicious decadent chocolate course at the Lindt studios. So Dimo, what should our question be?
I suppose maybe if people were listening, what was the first name of our founding chocolatier?
Okay.
I don't know.
That might be a little bit hard.
Name one flavor of the Lindt's Hello range, the newly released.
That's a goodie. Okay. Name one flavor of the new, what's the range called?
It's called Hello.
Hello range. Oh yes, I've seen those on the billboard. So the Lindt has a new Hello range. You'll see it's funky black wrapping with bright colors.
Exactly.
And there are all sorts of crazy flavors to this new range. So give us the name of one of the flavors. That's a goodie. Okay. Tweet me Haleo in SA, and you could win 2 vouchers either for the Cape Town Lindt studio or the Joburg Lindt studio. Quickly get that tweet in while I play a song. We'll announce the winner after this. Dimo, many thanks. What are your plans for the weekend? I always ask all my guests.
Well, I'm at the studio until tomorrow, and then I fly back tomorrow afternoon. So Sunday, I think I'm actually going for lunch at a wine estate in Cape Town.
Oh, sounds terrible. Thanks for coming in. We'll be sure to keep in touch, and you can keep us up to date with all the Lindt news and things that are coming
Thanks
out.
very much.
Okay. So here